The story of modern radio begins not with music, but with a desperate cry for help. In April 1912, as the RMS Titanic slipped beneath the icy waters of the North Atlantic, the world watched the power of Guglielmo Marconi's wireless telegraphy in real time. Marconi had bridged the ocean, but his system was rudimentary. It relied on spark-gap transmitters that created noisy, crashing bursts of electromagnetic interference. It was a hero's tool for Morse code, but it was far too crude for the nuances of the human voice or the complexities of a symphony. Enter Edwin Howard Armstrong, a brilliant and notoriously stubborn engineer who looked at Marconi's spark-heavy world and saw a canvas for something much more refined. While still a student at Columbia University, Armstrong invented the regenerative circuit, which essentially fed a radio signal back through a vacuum tube to amplify it thousands of times. This breakthrough replaced the massive, inefficient Marconi stations with sensitive receivers that could finally pull clear audio out of the thin air. Suddenly, the wireless wasn't just for maritime emergencies. It was ready for the living room. By the 1920s, AM, amplitude modulation, radio became the heartbeat of global culture. It allowed families to gather around a wooden box to hear the news and fireside chats. However, AM had a fatal flaw that frustrated Armstrong to no end: static. Because AM signals rely on varying the strength of the wave, they are incredibly vulnerable to electrical interference. Lightning storms, elevator motors, and even nearby power lines could turn a broadcast into an unlistenable mess of crackles and pops. Armstrong's obsession with statikless radio led him to a radical conclusion. Instead of varying the power of the wave, he proposed varying its frequency. This was frequency modulation, or FM. The industry, led by the powerhouse RCA, was heavily invested in AM and viewed Armstrong's invention as a threat to their empire. They tried to bury FM, claiming it was technically impossible or unnecessary. Undeterred, Armstrong used his own fortune to build the first FM tower in Alpine, New Jersey, proving to the world that radio could be as clear as a live performance. While Armstrong was fighting for the soul of the airwaves, the titans of industry at Bell Labs and RCA were shifting their focus toward television. They saw the future in pictures, not just sound, and lobbied the FCC to move the FM radio spectrum to a different band, effectively making all of Armstrong's existing receivers obsolete overnight. The legal battles were long, grueling, and emotionally draining. Armstrong was a man of immense principle who refused to let his patents be trampled, but the corporate pressure was relentless. Tragically, Armstrong did not live to see the total triumph of his technology. Yet his genius remains embedded in every clear note we hear today. He transformed radio from a noisy telegraph into a high-fidelity medium that could survive a thunderstorm without a single crackle. His persistence defined the standard for how we communicate across distances. So the next time you turn on the FM radio in your car, take a moment to think of Edwin.